and recording, and you can tell that I have been doing mostly podcasts for the past year or so because look at this ugly background. I'm going to have to fix that for future episodes. I'm pretty non-frills when it comes to these videos. They are talking head videos where I'm giving you updates on my language learning, but this is awful. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to work on that. So anyway, that's the revelation of the day. But I do want to start filling you in on my weekly accomplishments and challenges and questions with German, learning German. Now, for a long time with this channel, it was called Changing Scripts, and I was learning Mandarin Chinese, and I'm not done. I have so many new graded readers in Chinese that I'm going to attack at some point, but life is crazy right now while I'm job hunting and trying to get settled in Berlin, Germany. So right now I'm focused on German, and that's where I am. Now, since the beginning of lockdown, and in Germany, that was the sorry. It's the beginning of April. On April 1st, I started the German Uncovered course, which is a partnership between Olly Richards and Kerstin Cable. Now, they both have language learning podcasts that are fantastic, and I'll put information down below for you so you can click over to those. But I do need to do the disclaimer that I'm going to be talking about the German Uncovered course. I do have an affiliate partnerships, an affiliate link, an affiliate relationship with Kerstin Cable for this course. But it was not, I'm not doing this information, and I'm certainly not studying this because of the affiliate program. It's the other way around. If you've heard any of my other endorsements before for Mandarin card games and of Mandarin language card games, sorry Matthew, language card games or Mandarin Companion, these are just language learning resources that I love. It just so happens that Kerstin has an affiliate program, and I'm no fool. I want to endorse things that are wonderful, and I'm not going to deny any benefit that comes from that financially. So that's my disclaimer up front. But I actually started the course in April, and I just joined her affiliate program a few weeks ago. And this is the first time that I'm talking about it, especially on YouTube. I initially actually had one post on Twitter that she saw and said, "Oh, would you like to join my affiliate program?" Because I was just sharing how much I liked the course. So it worked out really well. So here we are. So there is an affiliate link down below. So if you are curious about the program and you want to learn German from Kerstin, which I highly, highly recommend, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't spend time on this or on the mass amounts of studying that I've done with the course, then by all means, click on that link and we will both be very happy people, or all three of us, Kerstin, me, and you. Okay, so I want to quickly just focus on the success I had this week, and then slowly I'll talk more about the course itself. There's so many aspects to the course, and I'm an over-talker, so I think if I started to over-describe the course, this could be easily an hour-long video with more screenshots than you would ever need, and that I don't have time to put on there. So I'm going to slowly describe the course over time, week by week, and things like that. And I might even do like a 5-minute quick video if I have that in me, because short form is not really what I do. Then I'll do that. But in general, Today I want to focus on some joy. Okay, so I mentioned that I have a podcast. I have many. I've just put the podcast up from one called Geopat's Podcast into many. Geopat's Language is the language companion to this YouTube video. That's the language podcast. There's Geopat's Podcasting, which is about podcasting. There's Geopat's Coffee. You get the idea here. There's many of them. stephfuccio.com is where you can see all of them. That's not the point. The point is that I am very curious about, sorry, there's a fly in the room. I'm very curious about different things in Berlin where I am and in Germany in general, and podcasting is one of them. What does this have to do with language learning? So I have interviewed some folks in the German podcasting scene in Berlin online. Obviously, I'm still social distancing, even though we can go out and meet people in public. I'm still very cautious. So I've been doing these interviews, and so the first episode that I published with the German, it was in English. The conversation was in English. I'm not that high yet, but that is a goal of mine. I decided to do some of my social media posts in German. So this was huge for me, huge, because I literally sat down, and you see 2 notebooks here because I am not someone who copies my notes over, but I found that what I'm about to describe to you was so useful in going through my notes. This is the original notebook that I used up to chapter 14 out of 20. There's 20 chapters in the course, that I'm actually recopying my notes into this new notebook. They're both the same style because I think that's funky cool, but I'm actually recopying them because it was so useful. The language that I copied down from the different parts of the German Uncovered course were so useful that I'm copying it down again into a new notebook so it's neater and easier to use next time. And that is not something I do. I am a very impatient, I would rather throw it out than redo it kind of person. So that tells you a little bit of how practical the German Uncovered course is. So let me tell you what I did. So I took my book, and again, I'm only up to about chapter 14. So I had my notes on the podcast, like the different aspects of things that we talked about during the interview. And I wanted to find sentences that I could use that I've learned in the course so far and use those in my social media posts in German. I'm sure I made heaps of mistakes. So if you look over on my Twitter, which is where most of them are coming up over the next couple of weeks, there were probably tons of mistakes. But I literally went through page by page and I looked at, for example, in summer ist, see, pronunciation clearly not something I'm doing a whole lot on yet, but it'll come. In summer ist es sehr warm. Okay, that doesn't make sense. We were talking about podcasting. We were talking about, he was a power lifter. So he was talking about powerlifting, weightlifting, the differences in those, answering my questions because I don't know anything about that. We didn't talk about weather at all. So I'd skip that page. And okay, and then I hit like something like, es gibt so viel zu sehen. And I was like, es gibt. Oh, that works. I can write something about that is. Okay, hold on. So then I would take that bit of language and then I would go over to my notes for the podcast and I'd say, what can I use with es gibt? There is what in the podcast. There is what in Germany. There is what in, and I stop recording. Okay, good. So actually I went into my social media planner because I want to show you some of the ones that I created, and I don't want to show you that much. Okay, so for example, there's an interesting line on my screen now. Cool. Okay, so let's take a look at this. And this is called Social Bee. It's a social media planner. And like this one here, this top one, so interessant. Mit Eric über den Powerlifting Podcast seiner und seiner Freundin die is in Germany. Twitter has very real restraints language-wise. Planet powerlifting zu sprechen. So basically I talked like so interessant is definitely something that shows up in the course, in the German Uncovered course a few times, because the story is a few university students going to Germany and exploring. And so of course they say that quite a bit. Anyway, you can see it's some pretty basic language, and I pieced together some stuff from the course with some things that I thought might work, and I guarantee you there's a ton of mistakes in this, but I was able to get some language out in a way that expressed what I would normally say in a social media post. I don't know why that line is in there. I wonder if that's Zoom or my computer. Anyway, I also did some in English. I did some of the same posts in English and in German, but there are some things that I wanted to say in German that wouldn't necessarily be as interesting for the folks reading it in English. And then I did, you can see this one here. Do you know what digital compact podcasts are? Kennen Sie, that is definitely some structure that was in the course. Kennen Sie was digital compact podcasts sind? That is definitely a question structure that was in the course. Yeah, and a digital compact is a really interesting thing, by the way, that is very specific to German podcasts. So I think if you're interested in that, by all means, go over to Geopat's podcasting and you can see that. So there's some of those that I did multiple language in one post, but most of the time I did one or the other because there's different aspects of the thing that would be interesting to people in, where's the one with a skipped in different languages? So powerlifting, es will in Deutschland. So powerlifting is, Oh, there is a lot basically there's a lot of powerlifting in Deutschland. It's a very popular activity. Eric von Planet Powerlifting sagt ja. So I talked to him about it from Planet Powerlifting is the name of his podcast. So you can see there weren't that many of them. Let me stop sharing the screen now. Okay, so you can see there weren't too many of them, but I've never done that before. I've typed a few words in Mandarin Chinese when I was studying that, because I have the keyboard on my phone for that, and it was pretty easy. But they were very simple, repetitive phrases, like well, I love you, or which yeah, that sounds like a weird thing to say often to random strangers on Twitter, but whatever. Or sha, like it is, or things like that. Like I would type that, but they were like maybe 3-word things. And what I was actually able to do with all of the examples from the course is I was able to pull much bigger structures. I was able to write actual questions. I was able to do things that I've never really been able to do before. Again, only 14 chapters in, which isn't that far. I know it's a 20-chapter course, but it gets exponentially harder with each chapter. Not exponentially, but it does get harder with each chapter. And being 14 chapters into the course doesn't mean I've completely absorbed the first 14 chapters and everything that's in them, which is why I had to like leaf through the entire thing and go, what structures can I use? What things do I really want to say that I already know how to say? Because I didn't want to just use Google Translate to do the social media posts. I want to learn how to use language. I want to learn how to use German. So I thought I would try this. Now, to be fair, I have gotten 0 responses from these posts on Twitter. So I'm guessing they're either unintelligible or they're just uninteresting. I'm guessing they're uninteresting because I'm not able to say a whole lot yet. But I did it. I was able to write some social media posts in German, which was really, really satisfying. And I didn't use Google Translate for any of them. I literally just used the examples that I had from German Uncovered, and then I made stuff up and hoped that I got it right in the end. So there's that. So I'm sure there are tons of mistakes, and I've said that before, but it was such a huge confidence booster to be able to write these and have them go out to the world. So there's that. So that was a huge success for the week. So next week, I will share something else that I have done with the course, and I will also share more on what I've studied and probably some challenges as I get back into chapter 15 and 16, which are super intense, just because I've kind of hit the wall with oh gosh, yeah, a lot. It's hard. Having so much agreement in cases is really challenging, but I'm convinced that with frequency and with the buildup of the narrative of the story that's in the course in German Uncovered, I feel like I'm gaining momentum and I'm almost to the end, and I'm almost kind of guessing what happens in chapter 20. So I'm hoping that'll kind of propel me forward in the last 5 chapters, which I'm not rushing through because I really want to. I keep going back and reviewing, just like I did with Mandarin Chinese. I go back and review stuff and I go forward, and I go back and review stuff and I go forward. I'm really, really more interested in the stuff I know, the language I know how to use. In Mandarin Chinese, it was knowing how to read. In German, it's knowing how to read, write, and say. Saying it is very important to me here because I want to be able to use this eventually in the workplace, or just in general, not just in the workplace, but when I'm talking to people, I want to be able to use it. And so, yeah, so it's a very different experience and I'm really enjoying it. I do miss in-person classes, but I also really like the self-pacedness of, that's not a word, but it should be. I like the self-paced nature of German Uncovered. So there is that. And I'll go into more of the many, many parts of the course. But if you can't wait for that video, by all means, click on the link, the affiliate link down below. Take a peek if you want to try it out. Purchase the course. I could not recommend it enough. It's fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. Okay, until next time. Tschüss.